I'm so sorry it's been so long. Also I see that I'm getting weird frame rate problems, so give me just a second. I will try to figure that out. Um, let me see what I can do. I don't know why I'm having that problem. Why are you being... Why are you being weird? Hang on, guys. Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. No, not that. Okay. Oh wait, it's magically fixed itself. Hooray! I have no clue how. Welcome to the wonderful wizarding world of my computer fixed itself. Oh no, now it's not. Okay. What don't you like? Do you not like OBS? I need OBS. Do I need to close that? Does that help you at all? Does that make you better? Nope. Okay. You magically got better and then you got worse again. And I don't know why. Hang on. Let me see. Does that help? No? Okay. Well, now apparently it is tech time with Lady Garcias, where I try to figure out why I'm suddenly getting dropped frames. I don't have anything more open than I usually do. Like, I don't see a reason for it to... Let's see. Yeah. Let's see why. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, we're gonna go and pretend everything is fine. 'Cause that's how everything works, right? If we just ignore the problem, pretend it doesn't exist, then clearly everything is fine. Oh no, am I super blurry? Oh, that may not be fine. Hang on, let me... be fine. Okay. Okay. Everything seems to look good. Hi everyone. I'm sorry if I'm a little echoey. It's a new room and it's full of stuff, but it's not full of the correct stuff. Although I did find a purse hook that I'm using as a headphone hook, and that is working great. I hope all of you have had a good day, or at the very least, we could have a relaxing night. As I said, last week, or not last week, but last time when I meant to stream, I was missing part of my setup, and that would be the holder for my phone, and I don't have a better way. I would have had to make a very sad little thing to hold it. But it has been found, so here we are. And I'm dropping again. Do I just keep going and assume it all works? Why are you acting squirrely today? Why are you being weird? Everything is normal. Everything is normal. Everything was fine. And then I opened OBS and everything stopped being fine. How frustrating. How frustrating. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, buddy. What is pitching a hissy fit right now? No, that's supposed to be pitching a hissy fit. I need that. Need that. Why are you throwing a fit? Everything says it should be working, guys. Why does that say that? I do that. Does that help? I can't close all my programs. All the programs that are open are the ones I need. If I do that. That seems to help. Nope, I start talking and everything goes away. Well, alright. This will be a fun stream. I hope the rest of you are having a better day than I'm having with my technology, because apparently it has decided now is when it's going to act up. And we are going to be talking about the Luminaries. So this one will be a little more on the spoilery side. Kind of because the way it's written, I don't know how to talk about it without it being a little spoilery. I'll try not to spoil the whole thing, but there will be some parts that I will be able to dance around, and some parts that I can't really explain why I really like this book without talking about it. As per usual, these are just recommendations. It's not a review, so I'm going to be touching on things that I feel are important, not necessarily that are. It's going to be things that shouldn't spoil too much, but they will obviously be plot related, so yeah. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right. Let's make sure everything is running like normal. Why is that acting up? Hello? Oh, come on. How do I... Blah, blah. No one likes me. My computer hates me. There we go. Let's try it that way. Is that better? Seems to be. Except that doesn't like me either. What is wrong? I've already restarted my computer once tonight because it was acting squirrely. I really don't want to have to do that again. Let me see. Blah, 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 blah. It is still acting up, and I don't know why. I have no clue. So I can click into other things and they'll magically fix themselves, and then they unfix themselves for reasons I can't figure out. So let me try something else and hope that it works. Oh. Oh, is that just an overall problem? Hang on. Is that just an overall problem? Dear OBS, please stop it. Okay, that'll... Oh, no, it won't. Okay. Let me, how do I do that? Alright, hang on a second. Let me see. Let me see. Right, so we're going to talk about Luminaries. It's a really fun book. It's got fun, spooky bits in it, and a fun naming convention that I will go over, assuming I can get anything to work. Nope. Oh no. Oh no. Why are you acting up, stream? Alright, well. Wait, now it says it's great. Why are you so confusing? I'm so confused. Okay, well, we're gonna move on and pretend that everything is still great. If anything goes wrong, no it doesn't. So, this is meant to entertain and inform. It's a book recommendation, not really a book review, but I will need to talk about it. I do not hold any of the rights to the works described, and I hope you enjoy. So this is The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. So about The Luminaries, it was published by Torteen in 2022. It is part of a series. This is book 1 of the Luminaries series. It's currently a trilogy. I didn't check to see if it's complete or if there will be more coming. I will say that if I didn't already have plans for sequel summer, I would probably go find the sequel of this for sequel summer because I enjoyed it a lot. So this is the original cover. It's kind of awesome. By artist Sasha Vinogradova. She's an art director, digital artist, and illustrator. She has won multiple international design awards, and her book covers include Violet Made of Thorns, which is a cover I've talked about before, as I've discussed that book, Nettle and Bone, Heartless Hunter, and many, many more. She has a lot of skulls with things, or similar to this one where you have a skull with flowers and things growing out. She has one that I believe is like beetles with jewels on them. It's very cool looking art, really nice, very striking, but she's a digital artist. Alternately, this was the UK cover by Michaela Alciano, who is a Hugo Award finalist. She also illustrated the cover of What the River Knows, Together We Burn, and The Night Circus. I've read 2 of these. I've read Together We Burn, and we've discussed The Night Circus before. Again, a lot of her work is very similar to this. Not necessarily in the skull category, that's kind of exclusive to this book. But they kind of have this nature vibe, even when that's not wholly what they are. You get that feel from it. So about the author, I didn't put her name on this page. I feel bad. So the author is Susan Dennard. She's a New York Times best-selling author. She writes sci-fi and fantasy, young adult. She has 3 series currently, plus there's a short stories novel or collection. She has the Luminaries, Something Strange and Deadly, and the Witchlands. I haven't read any from the other 2 series. And then the fun, interesting things that I found, I only wrote one of them here, but she has a Master of Science in Marine Biology, because I always find it really fun to see what authors do in addition to writing. We've had some before that were first responders. We've had teachers. We've had all sorts of professions and all sorts of like stages of life, and so I just found this one very, very fun. She has a Master of Science in Marine Biology, which I'll get to a little bit later, not because of this, but knowing that now, her description of some of the monsters is really fun. And then she also is a gamer, so plays video games. That's always fun. Kind of dispelling the myth of the stuffy and serious author. Although I guess Neil Gaiman does a lot of that by himself. He does a lot of heavy lifting for that. So what do you need to know about the Luminaries? So this is very much a Monsters Are Real story. It is a coming of age, sort of. I'll get into that a bit, but it's a story about proving yourself. The main character, that is her driving force. The individual, the family, the village, basically, and how it can affect just an individual. And then living the lie. So I always find it very interesting when things that should be simple and straightforward suddenly become a little different. And so living the lie is part of that. Why is this being weird? Hello? How strange. Okay. Anyway, we're gonna ignore that. We're gonna keep going. Oh, wait. Did that just... Why does that show something different? Should I be concerned? I'm going to ignore it and pretend everything's fine. That is very much how this stream is going today, is I'm ignoring everything and gonna pretend that this stream is working fine. Because as long as I pretend it is, it's absolutely being fine. Your main character is Winnie Wednesday. She is a 16-year-old with a chip on her shoulder. She's wonderfully flawed and relatable for a monster hunter, and monster mortician, sort of. So there are 7 primary families in the town, each named after a day of the week, which corresponds to the hunting duty taken by that day. It is a town where monsters come out at night, things go bump in the dark, and you hunt at night when there's monsters. And the purpose of the Luminaries is to protect, this is going to be on another slide, who cares, is to protect the outside world from the monsters. But Winnie is 15 going on 16 at the very beginning, and then has her birthday during the story, and is a very wants, and what she wants is something other than how the chips have fallen. She wants something better. So this is a Monsters Are Real story. Monsters may have familiar names, but are a bit different. There are... Hang on, the name is slightly different. Let me check. Let me double check so I don't get the wrong name. Let's see, where is it? Because I'm gonna mess it up. Yeah. So you've got werewolves, you've got vampira, you've got banshee. You've got a ton of like familiar monster names, right? Like I say those and you can probably picture a lot of them, except vampira are described as like weird bug creatures with sideways jaws, and like banshees are described as not quite how you would normally think of a banshee, and hags and things like that. So a lot of your monsters you kind of know, and having a knowledge of them doesn't completely change your knowledge of these. It's kind of a leg up, but it's not a guarantee. So that's an interesting little nod there. And then just the town of Hawthorne Falls. No, Hemlock Falls. I can't pick the right tree. It's a tree, but my brain does not remember which tree. Its entire purpose is to protect the outside world from monsters. They show up at night, and are caused by the dreaming of other entities. It's pretty interesting. Without getting into spoilery territories, there's another faction that is known in name only, for the most part, and basically you've got these very powerful entities that one group is protecting, and another group wishes to use the power for themselves. And I'm fairly certain, as the series goes on, those lines will probably become very blurred, because the way this book goes, despite being a book about monsters and monster hunters, and like Sam and Dean Winchester would fit right in, it also feels like a very relatable book about people. And I think that's one of the reasons I like it so much, was because it felt like people. So proving yourself. So a running theme for Winnie specifically is that she will do whatever it takes to prove that she and her mother and brother are still loyal hunters. We hear very early about a mysterious incident that caused her family to be shunned. So any and all help that is given to her, especially at the very beginning, is either completely in secret, or by happenstance, or by people who weren't there when the incident occurred and therefore didn't know her and didn't know the shame that came with it. But Winnie is trying to be accepted. She's got a chip on her shoulder. She's like, it's not my fault. It's not our fault. Everyone hates us, and that's wrong, and that's a you problem, not a me problem, and I'm going to show you that it's a you problem. That is Winnie to a T. It is also a story of betrayal and abandonment. So she starts off as a friendless outcast in the town of Hemlock Falls. Everyone either looks down on her or tries not to see her. She's everyone assumes she's not going to be a hunter, but she is allowed to do corpse duty for the corpses of either the normies that wander into the forest at night and the monsters, kill, or the monsters that the hunters kill. Somebody has to deal with the bodies. And so she's allowed to do that, but no one assumes she's going to be a hunter itself. That's just not done. Acting up again. See, this is what happens when I just assume everything's gonna be fine. I said everything's fine. Why aren't you working? Why are you being silly? Everything's fine, guys. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Oh, there we go. So that is Winnie. Oh, right. Sorry, I got lost because I was watching my connection go up and down and just be like unhappy with me. So since the incident, it's in capital, not so much because it always is in the book, although I think it is the very first time, but because it's very much a capital letter incident. Her immediate family was shunned, cast into shame, not completely kicked out, but basically as close to being kicked out as you could. And then her two best friends left. They didn't leave town. They're still around, but she's basically become a pariah. It's like, oh, you exist, but we're just going to ignore you and pretend you don't exist and potentially say mean things to you once we feel like it. The other thing is, and I didn't put this on here, is that the Wednesday family itself, so it is an expansive family. She is part of one branch of the Wednesday family. Her branch, her mother and brother haven't been allowed back into Wednesday Manor since the incident. They aren't really welcome. They don't get to hunt. They don't get to train. All of these things that, like, her brother had a plan for his life. Her mother was kind of the biggest of deals. And then stuff happened. And again, this goes back to Winnie has a chip on her shoulder and would like to solve it. But this is a reoccurring thing. And part of it is also tied into the next one. Which isn't going because it doesn't like me. Hello. Living the lie. So when Winnie is living the lie, she is also feeling like she is betraying herself. And that she has to deal with that. Very early in the book, she lies by omission. It is a very teen girl thing to do. But she intends to correct it. Like, that is one of the benefits of the way this book is written. You absolutely, you hear her thoughts. She's a fairly reliable narrator. Her thoughts make sense. They're logical. You've got some step-by-step progression. And the lie, she has every intent of correcting. First that night and then the next morning. But time goes on, and part of the lie allows her to be more accepted. And so suddenly it's like, cool, how do I tell everyone that this thing that is kind of good for me is actually not true? And if I tell the truth, I'll lose everything I've gained, which will put me in a worse spot than I was when I started, but also problems. So the lie gets harder and harder to argue against. by not speaking up, by allowing others to just infer and guess. It's very much a situation where she is not a liar. No, no, no. But at the same time, she doesn't correct anyone. So, it's a lot of fun. I would highly recommend reading this one. If you like things a little spooky and creepy, a little bit survivally, you can kind of mix My Side of the Mountain and the first Hunger Games novel, and I'm trying to think of a really good monster novel that you could mix with this. Kind of like Sunshine. Yeah. You mix those three together in a blender, and kind of strain out 90% of the romance and just toss it. Because I just realized all of those have a fair chunk. You kind of get the general vibe of this one. I will say, for those who are looking for a supernatural romance novel, this is not that. I greatly appreciated that. Is there romantic interest? Is there friendships? Is there a little bit of will they, won't they? Sure. But it's not the main point. It's not the driving force. And, like, it's addressed, but it's addressed in a way of, oh, this exists, but I have more important things. But this does exist, and maybe I'll come back to it. As someone who doesn't mind relationships on the side, but would like my fantasy stories to keep being fantasy stories, I really appreciated that in this one. But yes, I highly recommend, like I said, if I didn't already have a plan for sequel summer, I would be finding the sequel. So, recommendations. So, recommendations in the category of Proving Yourself is Terrier by Tamara Pierce, which involves Becca Cooper attempting to prove herself mostly to her family and her co-workers, but also kind of to herself. She is a character whose patron helped her a lot, and she looks up to him and respects him for that, and kind of wants to follow in his footsteps in a way that none of his own family wanted to. The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore. The argument could be said 90% of these characters are about proving themselves in the Crystal Shard. I initially thought of Dritz. To be fair, that's because I like Dritz. But honestly, basically the entire main cast are there to prove themselves, even the bad guys to an extent. It does take place in Icewind Dale, on Faerun, so D&D locations, Wizards of the Coast, same world as jeez, why is my brain not working? The same world as Baldur's Gate, same world as the most recent D&D movie. So all of that takes place in the same world, although timelines are fun and weird, and books and movies may not intersect. Your mileage may vary. A third is Redwall by Brian Jacques. This one, Matthias is your primary. A, he's your main character. B, he's all about proving himself. That is kind of his whole deal before things get bad, and then it becomes it's still part of his character arc. It's still a driving force for him, but he is suddenly trying to prove himself for a reason other than proving himself, if that makes sense. He starts off wanting to prove himself just, to say I can, and then suddenly there's a reason where it becomes more of a necessity of, if I don't do this, no one will. Also, that one is anthropomorphic animals. So if animals are not your thing, give Red Ball a pass. If you like mice with swords, and squirrels with slingshots, and badgers and otters, Red Ball is right up your alley. It is a lot of fun. When the long patrol come in, they're all hares. They are absolutely wonderful every time. And the last one on this recommendation list is Nobody's Princess by Esther Frasner. Technically, any of the princess line of the Princesses of Myth. So, Nobody's Princess, Sphinx's Princess, Spirit's Princess, which are all the first books in their duologies, Deception's Princess. Almost all of those are about proving yourself. I put Nobody's Princess down because it's the easiest one, because it is Helen of Troy, pre-Trojan War, when she is still a child / preteen in that one. And it's about being more than what everybody expects you to be. I think all of them are about being more than what everybody expects them to be. I need to reread the Sphinx ones. But so that is the proving yourself recommendations. And if any of you are keeping a bingo card of things and people and authors I will mention every single time, you can cross Neil Gaiman off your bingo list. Recommendations for Monsters Are Real. I almost just put Percy Jackson up here, and then I decided to actually put Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, which would be the first book in the Percy Jackson series. Some of these have monsters are real, but only certain people can see them. Percy Jackson is one of those. It's a pretty common thing in a lot of modern fantasy, and that's really where the monsters are real trope falls in. I guess I should have mentioned that too. The Luminaries does take place in our world. It's just our world plus monsters plus magic-y stuff, and monster hunters. I didn't realize that I don't read a ton of modern fantasy. Well, is modern fantasy the right term? My brain is not working tonight. I'm very sorry. My brain's not working, my computer's not working, my frame rate keeps dropping, even worse. Work frame rate, I need you. But I don't read a lot of that. American Gods by Neil Gaiman is not a children's book. Let us start with that. Of the 4 books on here, 1 is a teen, two are fine for kids and young adults. American Gods is an older audience. I'm not going to say teenagers can't read it, because I'm sure some of them can. I will say that the younger children should not. But it is very much a Monsters Are Real story, and it's also a Gods Are Real story. So the loosest term, general premise is that the old gods moved with their people, which isn't an uncommon. Like, technically Percy Jackson has that too, but the prayers and or belief that sustained them is fading for several reasons, and so how they are worshipped changes, and what they do changes, and you get some really interesting things, like some of the Egyptian gods being morticians, and that's really fun. But you're following your main character around. I will say, of the Neil Gaiman books I've read, Not only is this one the longest and densest, it is also the one that I had to read in fits and starts, because as much as it was deeply enjoyable, it was also deeply boring at parts. It is not a fast, quick page turner. It is very much a I'm going to settle down and read this monster of a book. Next is the Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. I debated putting the Raven Boys on here. That also kind of falls in this territory. Just, it's a little different. But Scorpio Races has, you know, bloodthirsty horses, so that counts as monsters. It's a lot of fun. It is primarily a book about a horse race. Similar to how that is the primary focus of like King of the Wind. But you know, the bonus thing is that, oh, these horses are more predator than prey, and they're not afraid of humans. Not like that. They will, you know, munch them. And then finally is The Squire's Tale by Gerald Morris. This is based primarily on Arthurian legend. There's some other things going on there. It's a lot of fun. Monsters are real, but primarily monsters and magic and the fairy realm are all interacting in some way, shape, or form, and sometimes good and or bad fairies will show up in the real world. So it's a bit more of your traditional Arthurian legend, fairy story. Think of Time is Funky and Lady of the Lake and that kind of stuff. They're absolutely delightful. They have the titular squire is probably my favorite character. Even though he's the one that is not from myth. He's original to this tale. But he is a wonderful delight and kind of humanizes a lot. And it's part of a series. It's the first book in a series, so if you enjoy it, there's a whole bunch more. Not all of them focus on Gawain, which is the primary focus of both the Squire's Tale and the Squire's Knight and his Lady. Some of them will focus on Gaheris, some of them will focus on Dinadan, some of them will focus on Parsifal. There's a whole bunch of different knights who get their own books. It's a whole lot of fun. Lancelot does in fact show up. You are all allowed to boo and hiss. Unless you like him, which you're wrong, but fine. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that is the briefest of overviews. Like I said, I really enjoyed this book. I actually had a different cover than the ones on here because I have, where is it? I have the Owl Crate cover, which is, I don't think I included it. Hang on. Keep going. It's a recolor of this one, basically. Yeah. Oh, not basically, it just is a recolor of this one. So it's everything is blue and silver. But same artwork, just colorized differently. But I really enjoyed that. I will say, so fun facts that I have learned. not just from this particular book, but just in general, is that I kind of love the authors that have blogs. Um, Not because I like have a lot of time to like go read them, but because when I'm looking for illustrators, a lot of authors will call out their illustrators and be like, look at this cover designed by, designed and illustrated by X or Y. And I'm like, thank you, because it's not listed anywhere else. And I desperately want to give credit where credit is due and look up some of these illustrators, especially if I like their artwork and like their cover. I want to be able to go, point at and go, look, this stuff is cool. Or like we've had a couple of artists where I pull up their artwork and I'm like, ah, this is just their style. This is what they look like. This is what they do. we've had a couple of those who they have a style and a brand. Sorry, I have coffee tonight. But like I burned my throat, not even really my tongue. I burned my throat on rice. So turns out, don't do that. But yeah, so starting next time, we will start a sequel summer, which they will be sequels of books that I have already talked about. So anything that I've previously read that has a sequel is fair game. Let me check on one of them because I don't want to do the sequel, but let me see if I probably should. Sorry. Oh, well, searching for a single word won't actually help. Hang on. Why is everything just acting up? Is it you? Are you the problem? Are you the problem? I bet you're the problem. Let's see. I read Violet Made of Thorns. I didn't really enjoy it, but doesn't mean other people can't. And it was supposed to have a sequel. So let's see if it's out and if I'm gonna need to read it. Or if just nothing will work for me because it doesn't like me to stream and do other things. It was sort of working earlier. No? Come on. Okay, so that part of it works. I guess that's good. How about a sequel? Book 2. Oh, wait. Is book 2 not out? I could have sworn I read this and it said that it was a sequel. Or there was going to be a sequel. Did I lose my mind? I mean, I might have. But I really did think that there was a sequel to this. Also, what kind of arbitrary question is this, Google? Um, sorry. If you ever read the related searches on some of the things when you Google them, it's like, how is that even relevant? Oh, well, sorry. I just found out why that this search is relevant, because it's a review for children's books for a YA novel. So, no. Let's see. Hang on. Let's see. Oh, okay, things have changed. Hooray! Sorry. Um, so the last time I checked up on this book was shortly after I did the recommendation on it. And at that time, it had suggested, oh, I'm working on a sequel. It has now been updated and said originally the author planned a sequel. Hooray, it's a standalone. I don't have to worry about that one. Yay! That was one of those books where I was there for like the first third of it, and then the second third was just a little shaky, and then I wanted off the ride. But it's not a bad book. It's just not what I want. That's kind of why to be fair, that's why I call these book recommendations as opposed to book reviews, is because I'm not arbitrarily going, these are good / bad. I'm like, hey, I read this, here's some important things you need for context, and like going into this if you would be interested in this kind of thing. And I'm not going to tell you, oh, it's good or oh, it's bad or whatever, because that's really subjective. And to be completely fair, sometimes guilty pleasure, not well-written books are sometimes a lot of fun. And sometimes really well-written books can be, like, badly edited. For the record, if you get the Crystal Shard and the Icewind Dale Trilogy anthology, be prepared for Gwenhwyvar the Panther to rapidly just get all sorts of different pronouns, because I don't think the editors knew what she was, despite her name. It's like, oh, you know, Gwenhwyvar, like Guinevere, or Jennifer, or, you know, the fact that Drizzt clearly calls her a female panther at least once. No, we're very confused about Gwenhwyvar. Gotcha. Alright. Well, that is a, look, it shouldn't be comforting that I can cross that, sequel off the list, but it is. So... let's see. Oh-de-do-de-do. I always love it when people ask silly questions on Google. Like, is there magical violence in this YA fantasy novel? I'm just gonna assume yes. It's a YA fantasy novel. Assume yes. whether it is written with a male or female audience in mind, just assume yes. All right. So, let me. Oh, now you're being all weird. I can't make you happy, stream. I cannot. Okay, so let me go. If I go here. Nope, that won't do it. I can go here. Nope, that's not helpful. Survey says. Oh, no. I know where I need to go. I need to go here. And then I need to go here. And I've got a list. Hooray! Okay, so the things that I will most likely be covering. Ballad and Dagger, which is the very first one I covered. I do own Last Canto of the Dead, so I will definitely be covering Last Canto of the Dead at some point. I own the next book in The Assassin's Apprentice, so that one is on the list. The sequel to Cinder is on the list. The sequel to Mything Persons, which, yes, will be, I think, book 6? 5? 5. It should be book 5 of the series, which I still haven't read the first 3 books in that series because it's old, and not because I don't read old books, because I do, but finding it. So, hang on. Last Canto, Assassin's Apprentice, Cinder, Mything Persons, Howl's Moving Castle. I was going to read the next Howl's Moving Castle book, or recommend it for y'all. I think that was the plan, but I've got a weird, I might have thrown myself off. Let's see. 1, 2. Nope, math is hard, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6. I will need one more. Okay. Alright, it's either going to be... It should be one of the younger books. It should either be like Nick St. North or The Wolf Tower or Silverwing. So, yeah, I need to do one of the younger books because everything else is that I've listed is either YA or adult. Oh no, I'll have to read sequels to books that I already know I like. How tragic. No, so that is what the next 6 weeks, well, the next 6 times I stream, so every other week, but they will be sequels. They will not be the first book in the series. They will all be sequels to books I have already talked about. You know, I think with Violet Made of Thorns not being on this list, they will all be sequels to books I enjoyed. The sequel to Mything Persons, I have read it before. It makes about as much sense as Mything Persons, and knowing that that's like book 4 in the series is... Oh boy. So that is what the future looks like. I haven't forgotten that I am still working on thumbnails. Um, a lot of stuff has happened, just shifting in life. So it is still, I still have some partially complete thumbnails, but none of them are done and ready for me to actually put on any of the thumbnails yet. Um, but yeah, I will get that up at some point. The other thing is that I will try on the I will try to remember to put community posts up that aren't just bad news, of me being like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so I'll try to put up some that are a little bit more happy and hopeful. Obviously, with me listing what books I'm looking at doing the sequels to, you can always look up what those sequels are yourselves. I kind of enjoy, for the regular ones that aren't going to be sequels, kind of giving you kind of surprising with the book. There at the very beginning, I was trying to give a hint at what the next book was. But the problem with that is some of them I haven't read before, and then I spend the time in between streams, obviously, reading and preparing, and trying to find, who the illustrators are for those there the author doesn't have a blog. So... Sorry, just had a panic attack. Thought I saw something and I did not. Everything's fine. You saw nothing. But for the regular ones, so once July is over, we're gonna go back to you not having a rundown beforehand, you not having a cheat sheet list that you can look back on. But I can't really tease, even if I know what I'm going to cover, and a lot of the time I know what book I'm doing next if I haven't already planned them out, like I did in October, and I had planned out November, December of last year. I can't really do, like, even if I do that, if I include books that I haven't read, I can't exactly be like, oh, it's a book about, this, because I don't know. Like, I can read the inside flap, but sometimes those are liars, man. Sometimes the inside flap of a book lies to you. And to be honest, there are a lot of... Oh, excuse me. There are a lot of books on my to-be-read list, and some of them I just ignore for old favorites. Yeah. Let's see, what else am I working on? Those are the big things. So the thumbnails are still in the work. So for those that don't know, this whole thing is my first digital art experience. So a lot of it is just trial and error and seeing what I can and can't do. So if you're wondering why it's like, yeah, it's been almost a year and you said you were working on this, I am. I'm just, there's a learning curve here, and it's not the only thing I'm working on. But yeah. Excuse me, I need more coffee. Hang on. I guess the other thing I could do, so absolutely the next book I'm doing is Last Canto of the Dead. because the first book in Sequel Summer is going to be the sequel of the first book I covered. I feel like that is kind of the best way to do that. It makes me happy. But after that, I could probably put up a community post and see what you wanted to go next. I don't know if I can do polls, but at the very least I can put up a community post. Yeah. So I may do that. I may let you give input on the order that I do them in, following the first one. I will say, regardless of the order, I will probably have to start reading the next Assassin's Apprentice book, because as good as that book was, it was dense. Like, really enjoyable, loved the characters and plot, but whoo boy, did that thing just kind of, it was closer to reading Tolkien than I would like to admit. Also, I don't understand why everything is being weird tonight. Hopefully this won't be a problem next time. Hopefully I can just power through on luck. But yeah, so that is the plan. Next time will be Last Canto of the Dead, which is the sequel to Ballad and Dagger. So we're going back to that mythos. So that's the diaspora that's based in New York, and they're from the magical island, and yeah, it's that one. My brain wants to call it Los Santos, but I don't. The rest of my brain is going, no, that's GTA. Look, I'm not gonna be happy until I look it up and know right quick. So let me look it up right quick. Let me look it up right quick. San Madrigal, that's what it is. See, I knew the other one was wrong. I'm gonna ignore the GTA reference. Also, I'm kind of saddened by just what pops up when I Google that. So another thing, just fun fact about how Lady Chryseis reads books and or reviews for books. I don't read reviews for books typically. I might after the fact, but like I don't care beforehand typically. I'm a very basic person. I look for things like dragons, I look for things like swords, I look for cool covers because contrary to popular belief, the whole point of a cover is to get you to judge the book, pick it up, and read it. So, and the other thing is I have my own opinions. So why would I let reviews drive that? I am very stubborn in that I don't like to stop a book just because I don't like it, but I may not read more of that series. That's kind of why I was concerned about Violet Bait of Thorn, because I remembered that when I gave my recommendation, it had a planned sequel, but it doesn't now, so I won't have to go with that. Alright, that is probably it for tonight. I hope all of you have a good night, and I hope you have less tech problems than I had tonight. I will see you in 2 weeks with Last Canto of the Dead. Good night.